the first year we were shooting a video. I did professional video production, and we were shooting a video promo, and everybody had spoke, and Chip was one of the last ones going to be the day of the church church. And the first thing he said was, "I'd like to thank our Heavenly Father, because without Him, none of this would be possible." We have two blind players here tonight. Eddie's going to come up, and Mark's going to get him queued up. And Eddie's going to come up and sing song. Let's remember this, guys. If you ever come to Miracle and see these guys here, these guys will have a picture now. They can't see the ball. They'll have a picture, or they'll tee it up sometimes. But most of the time, these two guys are hitting off the pitch now. And they have someone to be a spotter for them to yelp in the swing. Has some pretty good pictures and put it in pretty good place for them. Fast Eddie, the very first time he hit off a bat off of a pitcher, it went straight out deep center field. It landed somewhere near the fence. Let's think about what the blind. Let's think about them. What the scripture is about the blind people. John chapter 9, and y'all heard me say this many times. I can think of where to put it. Christ's disciples encounter a man that was outside, he's blind. He's like Eddie and Bob here. But they come up to say, "Master, who sinned? Did this man be blind?" So they're thinking, like him or his parents, they asked. He said, "Who sinned? Him or his parents?" So they're thinking, someone had to do something wrong. Somebody had to do bad. God's perfect. No one sins when they be blind. And Christ went on to explain to his disciples, this man's blind for the glory of God to shine through it. And if you ever come see some guys on the field, this is the glory of God shine through him. Eddie's going to come sing right now, and you're going to hear and feel the glory of God shine through Eddie. Eddie's like, "All right, brother." You know what the Miracle League is, but those of you that don't for any reason, it's organized team baseball. For anyone who cannot play in what they call a normal setting, right, boss? Can we get support? All right, can we get support? And so we have players, Eddie and Bob here, blind players. We have Peyton, who's going to come up and be a part of the search for a minute, has cerebral palsy. We have Jim Downs. We have back here, Matt, who had a heart transplant. Ezekiel 36:26 says, "I'll give you a new heart." And the Lord supplied a different one. Last year we talked about. I asked a question, and we answered at the end, why don't I have a Miracle League child? My wife and I have chosen to take one. That's 49 Down syndrome. And some of them have been born to us, and we may take them. But we've all wondered the question, that I want to bring something up last year, why do I have a Miracle League child? And we came to the conclusion to the scriptures that it's kind of like Mary and Joseph, that God picked us special.
Yes.
God picked us out special. We call it the self-special needs, but I come up with the term a lot better, special route. Special route gifts from God. That's what all these players are. Without a doubt. If there's ever been a special route gift from God, given this earth, it's Jesus when he was born in that manger. If there's ever been a special route gift from God, it's him. And Mary and Joseph were chosen special. And all of us were chosen special too. And there's some three things I want us to remember about God. God's a perfect God. Number one, God's perfect. Number two, God's a God of love. Number three, God don't make no mistakes, guys. Now, he does make some of us a little bit differently. And then he makes us a little bit differently, so they may need, the one who makes differently need a little help to do the task that God's got for them to do. Tonight, I've chosen a saying from the book of Ruth, Old Testament book. And so we've heard a handful of purpose. Who else heard that? The old saying, handful of purpose from Ruth. In the book of Ruth and Naomi, their husbands had died. Ruth and her mother-in-law, Naomi. Her husband died, and Ruth was faithful to stay with Naomi. But they go to glean or gather hay, the wheat in the fields of Boaz. I don't want to get too long on that. But they would gather fields. Now, as the people that worked in the field, too, were the men, they would drop some on the way, they were buried through and all that, and it was to be left behind for the widows to pick up. And he said, leave some extra for this lady. She was working so hard. Boaz noticed her. And he said, leave some extra handfuls of purpose for her to pick it up and have handfuls of it together. He told me to leave handfuls of purpose. I got to think, you know what? Our Miracle League kids certainly have handfuls of purpose to carry out in this world. They've got handfuls of purpose to carry out and live for us. I got to think, well, now what happened here? We had people going into a field to get a blessing. And I can't think of a place. Sandy, I'm going to read what he wrote yesterday, man. There's definitely blessings that come from that field. We get blessings from a field just like Ruth was getting blessings in a field. And we call it God's baseball field. St. Austin I'll stick to that. Last year we talked about how our kids, and Sandy and I were talking about this from the service, how our kids, you'll get the most pure honesty out of them. Sometimes you may not like it, but you'll get the most purest honesty from them. But let's look at us, we're supposed to be normal. Let's look at all the bickering we get into with one another, the backstabbing, arguing, the crazy stuff that we do. And let's think about a couple of verses. How about Matthew 5:16, let your light so shine before others. You come up to that ball field, you'll see these kids' lights so shine in a way you've never seen a light shine before. You certainly will. And Hebrews 3:13 is what we need to all take to heart, and that's just encourage one another daily. What do we do? Did you hear what so-and-so did? I don't like hearing what so-and-so did. Guys, if we're Christians, encourage one another daily. When you see these kids don't play ball, you'll see them encourage each other, and you'll be encouraged watching them. I promise you that. Let me come. Hey, come here. Come here. Come up here with me. Maybe you'll sit right here. Last year, we talked about in the service about how we all have a purpose. Oh, let's just get going to get embarrassed. Come here. Look at her. I love this young lady today. She's got this one in the heart. But last year, we talked about how we all have a purpose. That God made us just the way He needed us. To do the things He had for us to do. And not long after I just started Billy sent me a message one day. And I'm up there crying. And I don't know what I'm probably crying about. And I've got it saved. I'm going to read the first and last paragraph from a paper that Peyton did for school. And, I'm in the wrong stuff. I'm actually jumping on my phone page to show me how to use the phone. All right. So Peyton wrote this. Let's try to get it right. I'm going to read the first and the last paragraph. It says, have you ever known someone with autism or a disability? He says, I know many people with autism or disabilities. As a matter of fact, I have a disability. I was diagnosed with cerebral palsy when I was young. But I feel blessed because God gave me a gift to make people happy. Now let's think about the handful of purpose and blessings from the field here, guys. And I lost one that paper. What was that? Hang on. God gave me a gift of cerebral palsy. Can we say that? How many can say that? God handed me this job to do it. I'm going to do it for God. That's servanthood, guys. If it's ever been servanthood, if somebody say, God, thank you. You know what? Psalms 139:14 says, I'm wonderfully made. It said, I praise you for I'm wonderfully made. You knit me together in my mother's womb. That's understanding that verse, guys. That's understanding that verse. So I got the gift of cerebral palsy. But she goes on to end to say, in conclusion, even though people may act differently or look differently, everyone has a special gift from God to share. And you should treat them the same way you would want them to treat you. For being part of my life, for being my sweetheart. Because you are incredible. Yes, you can share it. And I tagged you guys in, and we just sat there and were ready to cry and said, this is exactly what goes on there. Now, let's take the thing, handful of purpose, and people getting blessed in the field. I'm going to read, and I've got these things saved kind of in. Yesterday, Sandy posted this. It says, today I decided to walk the dogs up at Westside Park at the American Field. It said, I have to be there just as the national anthem was sang and the prayer was said. I went up to the field and observed the first inning from the outfield fence. What I saw was nothing short of a miracle. So I watched probably 24 adults in the field with maybe 12 kids. Unlike normal baseball, there was not a bitter word from anyone on the field. Unlike normal baseball, I saw no kids under pressure from the adults in the stands. Unlike normal baseball, I saw nothing but smiles and laughs everywhere. Unlike normal baseball, nothing on that field mattered from a performance standpoint. It was simply a bunch of kids that can't play normal baseball, having the time of their life. I saw pure joy today. Their brand of ball is the absolute essence of what kids and love are all about. And now I know why they call it the miracle field. I saw it today with my own eyes. Thank you, Sandy. He said, I saw it today with my own eyes. John 4:48 says, unless they see signs and wonders, they'll not believe. I keep speaking of miracles. And I assure you this, guys, if you've ever been out there, you come out there and you'll see miracles take place right before your eyes. Bob led our home runs, 7 home runs.
2 seasons ago.
2 seasons ago, Bob, 7 blind player, Bob here. Bob led some home runs, 7 home runs from a blind man. Led some home runs. That ain't God working in miracles, man. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Kinsley.
Oh, God.
Kinsley Cornell.
What, Dave?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, sure all ladies, Patty next to you, ready, pleasure. Here she is, the queen of charisma, Miss Kinsley Cornell. Kinsley, come here, please. And bring my hat around. She didn't bring her hat.
I would like to.
Bless you.
You've got to, look. God gave you something to do, not just get through a meeting. You come on. But Kinsley, come up here. Well, let's think about this, guys. Matthew 5:16. Let your light so shine before men. All right. But Kinsley, she's just amazing. She really is. She's been, you played season 1, didn't you?
I played and sit up and...
Yeah. She was there when we opened in 2012. Now, Kinsley's on third base, and then I get to draw attention. All right, everybody direct your attention to third base. Kinsley's on third, and she stops and gets it up for a big trip to home plate. And she has her back down usually, but she'll come in, and then she has to say, you have to go, what's the...
Not Walker.
Yeah, usually. And she gets the point, and she'll put her feet up, and she'll slide on across the line, and slide. But then she does the tip of the hat, and she'll whip her hair back up. And... she's not conceited at all. But just look at the bubbly smile on her face. And ever since I first met her, I've called her the queen of charisma. And she is that, guys. And this young lady is just a gift from the Lord. You know, I feel like I told you, thank you. I'm open. Thank you for being here. I love you. Awesome. You know, God shines through a different way. He made us all the way he wanted us, guys. Now, what we choose to do in our lives is up to us, but he made us the way he wanted us to be with a job to do for him. We're free will agents, just like salvation. Free will agents to take on the task or not. But I'm going to switch gears here for a little bit, guys. Charles confirmed something this morning. I'm going to be pretty short tonight, and we'll go eat some food. But Charles this morning, I was thinking God was leading me to do this, but I didn't know for sure. But he said it's one about some of our parents. We have hard days and hard times. It's not always easy. And I can assure you guys, it's just not always easy. We have hard days. We have more than one. It's a challenge. It's a struggle. But God chose us, like I said, especially because of you when the right one to do it. We can handle it. But let's think about this. A lot of people wear those little bracelets and say, what would Jesus do? WWJD. Now, here's got one. Anybody got one done? Let me first say, before you get on the way, there's nothing wrong with what would Jesus do. That's a good train of thought. But I like WDJD. What did Jesus do? Especially dealing with hard times. So parents, family, caregivers, anybody, everybody out here has had a hard time sometimes. I've had a hard day, hard time, went through a struggle. Well, let's look at what did Jesus do. You know, 1 Peter 2:21, I think says it. It said, Christ suffered for us, setting an example that we should follow in his steps. Let's think about it. Christ suffered for us, setting an example that we should follow in his steps. Now, the suffering, Christ suffered for us, that's a hard time, isn't it? Let's think about when Christ came to Jerusalem, right before the death, the burial, and resurrection. Let's think about it. He came into town riding on a donkey. They were throwing palms with them, praising Hosanna the King. A few days later, they all yelled, crucify him. Just a few days later, they're yelling, crucify him. Give us Barabbas, a murderer. Let's qualify Jesus. He knows what a hard time was. And parents, caregivers, everybody here. Next time you're having a hard time, let's think about this. Let's qualify Jesus. What did they do to him in that way? A yanked him around the mock trials never worked from this into that one. He didn't have no food, no water, no sleep, no rest. They beat him, spit on him, yanked his beard out, scourged him. Now, scourge is a whip with big leather straps and shards, hooks, and glass, beat him with it and ripped his back open. Took a crown of thorns and smashed it right through the skull. How many people want to sign up for one of that days? Anybody here? To go through that for somebody else, for the whole world, for somebody else. Just go, would you be willing to give that to yourself? For somebody else? None of us could. There's one who could do it, guys. Well, listen to what I went to. You know, he felt the physical pain for sure. That's why they put him on the cross, guys. Then when they put him on the cross, what did they? Nailed him up there and stood around laughing at him to watch him die. Anybody want to sign for that? No, Jesus did it for us, didn't he? He did it for us. There was an emotional pain. He picked 12 men special to go with him to spread the gospel. One of them, when it betrayed him, brought him to take him at night in the garden. We got 70 there. But he felt spiritual pain too. The second he died in one instant. Y'all probably said this before. He took every sin that ever had been or would be committed on this earth. He hit his heart like a sledgehammer in one instant. The second he gave up his life. I preached on it is finished for our Easter season. So let's think of what it is finished means. And I said, in one instant, when he said it is finished, he gave up the ghost. He took every sin. Let's think about all the stuff we see in the world today. What do you see on the news? We see these terrorists, ISIS beheadings. We see child molestation, just pure evil everywhere, guys. Every one of them things you see on TV, you think that's the most horrible thing I've ever seen. He took it on his heart to offer salvation to that person. So there will be a battle when the place shows it. Every sin, every committed, he took on his heart and wasted when he gave up his life. I'd say Jesus knows what a hard day's like and a hard time's like, guys. And I'd say when we're having a hard day and we go to him, he understands it. I'd say he understands it. We'll say, God, I'm overwhelmed. Christ, I'm overwhelmed. But he did two things that stand out to me to handle these hardest days. The first thing he did was he gathered his friends around him there near the end at the upper room for the Last Supper. He gathered his friends around him, guys. He didn't say, I need to start, I need this, I need y'all to help me get out, I need y'all to fight them off. He said, come be with me. And he hang out with me, guys. That's what he's saying to them. He's going to share with his friends. Number one, guys, when we're having a hard day, I've had to learn small life. Open up to your best friend and share it with them. As humans, we seem to bottle things up, number one. Or our friend asks us, how you doing? Oh, I'm fine, don't worry about it. Look at me. No, man. Open up to your friends. God gave you real friends for a reason to share with them. To be there for one another. Minister presence, just be there for each other. But the first thing he did was he gave his friends and God. So first, when we're having a hard day, a hard time, we got friends up for you. Just turn to them. And then he did something else. When they were all eating, he said, I need to go and pray. Now, he went to the Garden of Gethsemane. It's really an olive garden is what it was. But that's a restaurant, right? And they probably knew that then, so they probably called the Garden of Gethsemane for it, but we wouldn't get confused about this in church. But it was really, but that was his prayer closet. The Bible tells us to have a prayer closet. And his prayer closet was his Garden of Gethsemane sacrifice. Probably was Jesus. Now, he took 3 in, Peter and James and John, but anyway, he left the others at the gate, and he told them all, stay and pray. Well, what happened to the 8? What happened to them? They fell asleep. They fell asleep. Not some of you hear preach, they're going to criticize the ones that fell asleep. Let's say about this, at least they showed up. We don't get much credit for that, but I think let's get some, at least they showed up. They've been to what? I mean, they've been to the sleepless nights and all that. And he said, couldn't you stay awake? Yes, he did. And he had a little frustration with them. But at least it's our point. That's what I think my children will be there for Jesus and I'm not saying that. I've had this sermon, Charles, later on. But at least it's our point. I won't give that much credit. But here's why. See, they fell asleep. He went to pray. God don't ever sleep, guys. God don't need no sleep. God's always on. There's certain things our friends can't do for us. There's certain things only God can lift off of us in these times. And he prayed what I call the Gethsemane prayer. The first thing, it's got 3 parts. First thing he said was, God, with you, all things are possible. Matthew 19:26 says, God, all things are possible. But guys, this is a model prayer for our hardest days. God, I know there's nothing you can't do. So I said, Dad, Father, there's nothing you can't do. The second thing he said was, My heart's exceedingly sorrowful. Please take this cup from me. Now he was saying, I'm hurting. And I'm hurting bad. Is there any other way out? He knew what the time was there. He knew what he was there for to get his life. And it was hurting him so bad at the time that pain was closing on his heart. All those sins closing, he's feeling. And he said, Father, is there any other way? If possible, please take this cup from me. Is there any other way? I'm hurting so bad, God. Can you lift this off of me? But the last thing he said, it's not my will be done, but thy will be done. And that's for us to say, God, I know you made me love me, and you know what's best for me. I trust you with this. But guys, in our hardest days, the hardest times, God gave us great friends. Parents, caregivers, friends, family. People just sitting here. In the hardest days, God gave us friends, man. Turn to them, open up to them. Let them be there for you, and you be there for them when they need you. We'll go to the Lord in prayer. Open up to God and say, here's exactly how I feel, God. And God, I need your help. I need your help. Guys, I want to let Charles come up this second here, but I just want to say, thank you all for coming here tonight.